Good morning. We are here on Thursday of Mother's Day week. It is Mother's Day needs more than one day, it needs a week. And so I have been very busily, is that a word? Anyways, I've been very engaged in planning Mother's Day and thinking about how to celebrate. I think it's just in this day so fun to have something to look forward to, a special day to look forward to. And so I have been scoping out my donut shop on what I've been looking at the menu and what special donut I'm going to have on Mother's Day. And so there's a place in West Dundee I've never been to called Craft Donuts, and I've heard about it. And they do backdoor pickup. So I'm going to do a backdoor donut on Sunday, and I am very excited. And not only that, I bought myself my early Mother's Day. This is mega drink. I love ice water with lemon or like iced tea, and I couldn't help myself. This is the flamingo color. Hello, good to see you all. Flamingo color of mega drink, and I'm very excited about this. Came in yesterday. Happy Mother's Day to me and to all of you. Just wanted to let you ladies know that we're going to be doing a virtual foyer this Sunday on Mother's Day so we can say hi to each other. So bring your mega cup or your small cup and come say hi. 9:40, there's going to be a Zoom link going around. All the ladies, come say hi. Let's just enjoy each other. All right, well, I have more to tell you about than Mega Cup and what's in my Mega Cup and about my donuts today. And I've been reading through the Bible, and I hit Joshua and the story of Joshua. And I have just been finding so much life from Joshua's story, especially before he hit his first battle of Jericho. And I preached on it on Sunday, and I'm going to actually preach on it again this Sunday. And it's going to be like a Mother's Day edition, but still funny. But I'm going to draw from the life of Joshua. And I just wanted to share another bit today with you that I hope will be something that you can just immediately take action with, something from the scripture in Joshua's life. And so Joshua is in this moment in Joshua 5, he is outside of Jericho, outside of that first battle. Like, he is facing this massive war in front of him, and he's the leader. He is the man. Like, it is all rise and fall on his shoulders. And so he is outside of Jericho. And I looked at this a bit on Sunday, but he meets this mysterious commander. This mysterious commander is actually God, the God of the angel armies. And when he meets him, what it says in Joshua 5 in verse 14, it says that he falls to the ground in worship. And I don't think in that moment that Joshua actually consciously made a decision that he was going to get on the ground and worship. I really believe that in that moment, that's all that his body could do. That he had to, in essence, he had to get on the ground. It wasn't a choice. It was just that he was in the presence of God and he fell to the ground in worship. It was like this knee-jerk reaction. And I think that happened that way because we hear over and over again in scripture that when God would show up, people would just hit the ground. I don't think it was really, again, a choice. And one of my favorite stories is about Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. And all these men are coming to arrest him because they think he's crazy, a crazy man, that he would actually say that he was like the Son of God or equal to God, that they thought this guy, he's just a guy and he's crazy and he's fooling people and he needs to be stopped. And so these men come to arrest Jesus in the garden, and they're looking for him, right? Jesus of Nazareth. And they say, "Are you Jesus of Nazareth?" And he says, "I am." And they all hit the ground. All these soldiers that don't believe in him, that wouldn't worship him, hit the ground. And again, I think it was just a result of the revelation in that moment of who he was. They didn't have a choice. They're all in the ground. And I think what they're looking around, what just happened? We're coming to arrest this man, in our strength. And we are these soldiers and we're on the ground because he just answered our question of who he was. And so here's Joshua, back to Joshua, and he's on the ground in worship, and that God tells him, he says, take off your sandals, because the place where you are is holy ground. And I thought this was so interesting that there is another gear in worship, that there is another gear beyond, like Joshua's already low. He's already leveled. He's on the ground in this moment. And God asks him to do more, to take off his sandal, almost like in worship. And I feel like God was saying in that moment, your worship has another gear, has another level, despite the fact that you are already on the ground, and it involves your choice. It involves following the kind of the instruction that I'm giving you in that moment, or obedience, if you want to call it that. I know that that word can carry some baggage for some of us, but in that moment, God is saying, I'm inviting you into another level of worship, and it has all to do with your choice. In this moment, will you take off your shoes? Will you take off your sandals? This is something that you have complete control over. It's either yes or no. Either I'm going to do what you say, or I'm not going to do what you say in this moment. Whereas he couldn't stand in God's presence, and he was on the ground. Again, just a knee-jerk reaction. In this moment, now he has an opportunity to get his will involved in worship. And I feel like in this day, God is giving us an invitation to saying, will you find another gear in worship? And here's what I want to know. Will you worship despite what's going on around you? Will you get your will involved? Will you make a choice to worship? And all over the scripture, we see this command to worship. In some ways, like in Psalm 32:11, God says, he says, rejoice and to be glad. And maybe for a lot of us, we just have this underlying sense of crankiness or crabbiness, because there's a lot of things we can't do, and we're feeling like the mundaneness of life, and there's a lot less that we can run to. And in that place, God is saying, will you still rejoice? Will you yet worship me? And so that's kind of where I'm at today, is going, you know what, this is a choice that I can make. There's another gear that God is inviting me into in worship, and it is getting my will involved, and say, I will rejoice. Today is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. And I make that decision. I make it out of, my despite the fact that maybe there's raw material just bubbling up out of my life to worship God for, I make a decision to worship to worship despite, to worship instead. And so I feel like this is an invitation for some of us to go, you know what, I am going to rejoice not in sickness, and not that the fact that people have lost their jobs. So I'm going to rejoice. I'm going to find something to rejoice in. I'm going to rejoice in who God is. I'm going to rejoice in his steadfastness. I'm going to rejoice in his faithfulness that reaches to the skies. I'm going to rejoice in his love that never fails me. I'm going to rejoice in his presence that comes near day in, day out, despite the weather, despite how I feel, despite the fact that, even if I don't have a nice new cup in flamingo color, I'm still going to rejoice in who God is, in the truth, the foundation of his word, his love, and what he's done. So that's my bit today is, guys, let's find another gear of worship. Let's find another gear that involves our choice, not that isn't just drawn into because we feel good and we feel alive and we feel like there are things happening in our life that would draw us into it, but just purely based on who God is, purely based on his word. So that's my encouragement for you guys today out of the life of Joshua. And I hope you guys are doing well and making some great Mother's Day plans to celebrate your mom, or to celebrate some of the women in your life. And I can't wait to be with you on Sunday and do Mother's Day edition sermon with you from the life of Joshua and encourage you. And I really feel like God has been speaking to me, and I can't wait to share with you some of the things that are on his heart for us as women. And I will be back then. Have a good Thursday. Okay, take care.